Hey everybody, it's Vicky with the Lavinia World Video Design Team, and today I wanted to do a project with you on the Yupo paper and alcohol ink. And we have this on the website at laviniaworld.com. And Yupo paper is a non-porous, almost plastic type of paper. You can bend it or kind of not fold it in half, but it's kind of flimsy. You can't really tear it. I mean, obviously you could destroy it, but this is the largest size that it comes in, which is 8 by 10. And I've already started part of the background because I wanted to save us just a little bit of time, but I can show you on the paper. So I've colored this already with the teak wood color, so it's a gorgeous brown color, but you can see the paper, so we can bend it and it doesn't leave a crease. You know, it's pliable, but it's completely non-porous, so it's smooth, which allows the alcohol to react with each other. And one of the things that you're going to want to get is going to be the blending solution. And I realized as I got ready to start this project and was this far in that I was actually out of this, but it is alcohol, so it will react with rubbing alcohol. So that's what I'm going to use tonight. But the blending solution is really made for the alcohol inks, and so I would get this, but when you're in a pinch, rubbing alcohol will work. The other thing that you're going to want to get is the alcohol lift ink, and this does come in a spongy pad form, and you can use it, you know, so we could stamp on this and it would pull the ink off, but because it's going to react with this, it wouldn't be what we would want to use for this project. But maybe I'll try a project with this sometime later. But we are going to use the alcohol lift ink after we add the other alcohol ink colors, and we'll apply this with our brayer. So I'm going to put that off to the side for now. And the two other colors that we're going to use is going to be the Current, which is a really pretty blackberry color, and then the Pool Part, I wanted to call it Pool Party, but it's a pool color, which is kind of like a patina finish. You know, as something becomes kind of old, you see it on keys, on projects, and that type of thing. And I've lost the lid to this, so I have to be careful with it. But these are the colors that we're going to use on our project. So I've got my applicator, and then I've got my applicator pads, and we'll use a different one for each color. So it's just Velcro, so it's going to attach to it. You can apply the alcohol ink directly to the Yupo paper, and it will react you know, exactly the way you think it will react and leave spots and kind of move the ink around on the paper itself. But I want it to have a different finish, so I'm going to apply this directly to my applicator pad and just spots like this. If I wanted it to be a little harsher, I could even spray this with or put some dots of the blending solution on it. Or I could spray it with my alcohol. But I'm just going to go around the paper, and I'm going to touch lightly because I want it to show us that reaction. I want to see the bubbles that it kind of creates, and we'll work with those. We're actually going to use some Nuvo drops on this project after we're all finished. So you can see it immediately reacts to the paper with the other ink, and gives it a really kind of a textured look. Now, it seems really dark, so it's hard to kind of imagine what project we might, you know, do on this. But because we're going to lift this off, we're actually going to put it on just a regular sheet of cardstock. And today I'm going to use the Anina, just a white blend cardstock. So I want to put just a little bit in the center here. And remember, the Yupo is 8 by 10, so our projects will end up being matted only because it just doesn't, you know, it doesn't cut. So for those of you that make the A2 cards, it's a little bit harder to do. So I end up usually getting 2 cards and maybe 2 ATCs out of it. But if we can get a nice strong finish on it, we might be able to get 4 cards, but it usually leaves off a little on the end. So that's all the cranberry that I want to add to it. And I'm going to hold this up for you so that you can see. And it's dry. It's a little bit tacky, so you don't want to smear it. But it's right there. So now we're going to add the pool to it, which is a light blue color, and it works really well with the warm breeze. And I haven't quite decided what stamps I'm going to use with this. A lot of times I will wait until I have my background created. And you could even photocopy this if you wanted, if you had a background that you created that you really liked. When I work on my cards, I do like them to be original backgrounds, so I don't photocopy anything, but by all means you could do that. So now I'm going to take the blue and I'm going to add that on. And I want to be sure that I'm careful because the teak has some yellow in it. This is going to end up giving us a little bit of a green as it mixes. And if we're not too careful, when we get close to that cranberry, we're going to end up with a purple. So I just want to be careful with how I place this. And I'm really not looking for those extra colors in there. And a lot of times when I use these, I will even add a little yellow to it to lighten it up just a touch. But as I look at it, I think I'm going to go ahead and do just a little bit of yellow in the middle. So let me pull that color out of the tin here. And we'll use, this is sunshine yellow. So it's a pretty true yellow. And I'm going to use this very sparingly because I don't want it to change any of my other colors. But working with the alcohol inks, it's kind of fun because you can really kind of create any color you want. Just be careful that you don't end up with a muddy kind of a black-brown color. You just have to tap it on there. And I know you've seen the videos, for those of you that are Lavinia fans of the stamps, the creator of Lavinia does amazing kind of smoky finishes on hers. So I'm going to put my cranberry back on, and I want to see if I can get just a little bit more without making it too dark. I lost a little bit of that kind of red on here. Okay, so I don't want to overdo it and end up ruining it, but here's a little tip for you. And you can actually reuse your Yupo paper. And while it's going to be stained, if you get the initial ink off, just kind of put it to the side when you go to work on your next project. If you're going to do something like that, you can just wipe it off with alcohol. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put the lids back on as many of these as I can because it will spill. And you can get the alcohol inks on the website as well. So I'm going to move this to the side. Now, if I had the solution, I would probably maybe flick it with a paintbrush, but I don't have any. So I'm actually just going to take my rubbing from the spritzer and using the applicator. And I just want to splatter a little bit of just plain old alcohol on here. And what that's going to do, it's going to give us some space on here to lighten it up a little bit, because the teak is a little bit darker. And you don't have to do this, but I was playing around with some of the colors earlier, so I know in this scenario I want to do that. So I'm going to grab my piece of paper, and now when you're using the alcohol lift, you want to be ready to go with your brayer. And here's why: don't smear it because it's going to drag your ink. It's an alcohol lift ink, and so it's going to move the ink around. So don't let it dry because it will take it off. And you just put a line across the top, and I actually like to put a line across the bottom too, just to be sure. and you can kind of see. And we're just going to bring that down the paper very carefully to not smear our project so we don't lose that. And then I'm going to put that to the side, and I'm going to quickly put my piece of paper on top of here and line it up the best that I can, and then I'm going to rub it. And we'll see this come through, but it's so strange to me because you would think it's a little sticky and so the paper wouldn't be on top of it, but it's going to lift right off. It's almost dry already for you. And we don't care what the back looks like because it's the back of our project. But I want to rub the best I can to get the most out of it. Because again, we've got one shot at this particular background. If we mess it up, we would go back. So I'm going to lift it up, and you can see it's picked up the ink. So, and this is what we ended up with. So it's really a little bit darker than I wanted, but you can see all those great colors in there. We've got the pool and the currant, which is like the cranberry, and just a little bit of the yellow. But we've got these nice spots here that's going to give it some real dimension because we're going to embellish with that later. So I'm going to move this out of the way, and I'm going to clean up and pick a couple of stamps out to make a project. But before I do that, let me show you how this works. And I won't clean it off all the way because it'll take us a couple of sprays. But I'm just going to spray my alcohol in here, and I'm just going to wipe it off just like this. Now I would probably do this a couple of times, and you can see it takes it off. And even though it's not going to take it off all the way and we're left with this stained piece of Yupo paper, I can go back in and I can reuse this. So I'm just going to put it off to the side, clean up, and decide what stamps I want, and then we will put this back together. Okay, so we're back after we've done our alcohol ink, and as you can see, like I said, this is completely dry. I'm going to try and get this in a bit light in a better direction for us. Give me 1 second here. You all see that a little? Okay, so now you can really see the colors. So we've got that really pretty currant, which is kind of a cranberry color. We've got the pool, a little bit of yellow, and that gorgeous teakwood. These brighter spots here, or where it's a little more pronounced, that's where we flicked our alcohol or the blending solution, whichever direction you decided to go. So I've chosen some stamps that I think will look good, and we are going to use the archival ink, the Thistle, which is a real pretty blackberry color, and I think that's going to look really good with our currant that is in there. And then we are going to use the VersaFine Claire Pine Cone. So I've already lined up the first stamp. Excuse me. And I decided that I wanted to put most of the color at the bottom because this piece was, I'm sorry with the light tonight. Let's see if I can make this just a little bit better for us. Why is my light kind of not cooperating? I'm going to move it off to the side here. We may get a little bit of a shadow, but I want you to see the colors. So I've decided to put the darkest of our color, or the biggest chunk of our color here, down at the bottom and on our on my platform, because it was kind of bunched up there. So let me get that. I think the light is better for you now. Sorry about all that mumbo jumbo. So the first stamp I'm going to use is the Zen words, and I like those. I think they're kind of fun. I'm going to turn this back around so I can see it, and then I'll share it with you once it's inked up all the way. And normally I maybe put the words off to the side, but I don't want them to be the only focus of our picture this time. So I am going to stamp those in the Thistle colored ink, and you can kind of see that on the pad. It's not quite as purple as it looks. You can kind of see right there. But I'm going to put this in the middle because I'm going to stamp Una is who we're going to use. I believe that is her name. I didn't look at the package before we started. And I'm going to stamp her in brown. And most of the time I would do my silhouettes in just black, but I think with this paper the brown is going to be so much prettier. So I may need two with this, but this is a really neat one. It's got blessings on here. I believe it says peace, wisdom, peace of love, peace, love, prosperity. And this is kind of a great multi-sentiment stamp. It's got lots of words on here. Unity, faith, all of the things that you kind of think of kind of in a dreamy world, best wishes type of scenario. So I'm going to stamp those here in this color. All right, and that's, we're missing the O on our freedom. And I'm just going to push down in that one little section and try and get it there for us. Okay, that's going to do because I think part of her will cover it. So now you can see. So I've stamped that in the cranberry color. Very pretty. I like it. And so I'm going to leave that in here because now I'm going to put Una on top of it. She is the fairy with the staff. I believe that's her name, but that's her. So I'm going to put her, and I know that she's going to cover up. I'm actually going to move this to the top because I want her feet a little further on the bottom. So I'm going to put her part of the way on the words because I know that that's where I want her. And then we're actually going to use one of the wolves, and I believe I'm starting with Mako. I believe that's how you say it. But I'm going to link to all of the stamps at the bottom for us so that you'll have those. And this is... this card takes a little longer than something I would normally do, but we've seen so much of the alcohol lift ink. I just wanted to share that. And obviously, if you do any stamping with the oxide inks or the not archival, sorry, but the Tim Holtz archival, shoot, really struggling tonight, I'm sorry, with the oxide inks. You could do a lot of the same backgrounds. You just have to be patient and keep trying till you get the effect that you want. One of the things that I do if I use this alcohol lift process, because this is going to be really wet, because they, you only get it, you know, the one, and the size of the Yupo paper, obviously I couldn't get 4 A2 cards out of that unless I trimmed them down and really matted them, which isn't something that I always do. You can cut it down and make an ATC and share the ATC with a card, so it's got something sweet that they can throw in their picture in their wallet, because it really fits just like a picture does. And just a reminder that, you know, you're always there. So now we've got Una on top of it, and she's in the brown. I think it's a little harder for you to see those colors, but when we finish and we embellish it and add it, when I add that brighter light, you might be able to see the color contrast there, because it is there. And so now I'm going to put our Howling Wolf underneath or in front of her, and it kind of looks like she is tapping his head a little bit, but we're going to use this one. And I found this one in the bottom of my box, and he's got a little glitter on him, so hopefully. And now that I'm looking at it, I think I'm actually going to go with one of the bunnies. So I will find that, and we'll come right back. Okay, so I've had a complete change of plans, and it was not kind of what I had planned. So we're going to switch it all the way up. I've pulled out Wild Vine, and this is kind of a neat one. And the reason we're switching is that the animals that I have, or that I thought I was going to use, don't actually fit exactly where I wanted them to go. So I had to rethink our whole game plan here. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to add our wild vine in here. And I'm going to go ahead and stamp this all in brown also. It's a little bit darker, but it's very open. You can see there's, you know, the skinny little wiggly leaves and the squigglies, or like the whimsical wisps that we have several stamps of. And I'm going to put this just so that she's feeling it. So it looks like she's kind of reaching down to touch those as she's kind of looking out. And it won't hide all of the words quite as much as the animals were going to either. And that was where I was kind of lost my train of thought there, because all of a sudden that's exactly what was going to happen. So I'm going to stamp this across the bottom, and I'm probably, well, I know I'm going to also stamp them at the top just a little bit. And I think what ends up being the focus in this picture, which really wasn't my plan, is the blessings, or the Zen words that starts with blessings, and I kind of like that. That it starts there, and it's okay that that's where our eye is drawn to. Alright, so that's all I'm going to do. I'm just going to put those at the bottom there. This wild vine, I've actually made a card because of that. It actually looks like wicks of a fire, also the top of it. Let me see. So you can see a whole one. So it's kind of a fun stamp to play with if you're using the dragons and you wanted a fire. You could stamp them in orange and yellow and red. So I'm going to turn this around, and I'm only going to stamp just a couple, just to balance out our card just a little bit. So I'm going to go ahead and do it a little longer here. And then I think on the other side, I'm going to go ahead and mostly stamp off the page, just to balance it out a little bit. And then it kind of puts her inside this little cove of, oh, I like that much better. So there we are. We can see her there. Now, the fun part of this card is how we're going to embellish it. And we're going to use the Nuvo drops. And then I think I will go in and maybe even add a couple of really, a little larger gold pop. But I decided, because the background ended up being a little darker than what I was hoping for, I decided to matte it on a cream colored piece of cardstock, and then we will add it to a brown card base. And I think that's going to look really pretty. So I'm going to glue this down real quick and grab our Nuvo drops and the gold embellishments, and we're going to get started. So I've got her all glued down, and now we are going to start what is almost always my favorite part. So I've got some little bit thicker, if you can see kind of the embellishments. They stand up a little higher than something that I might mail, only because they may get crushed when it goes through the post machine as they do their thing. But what we want to focus on is the two different Nuvos that we're going to use. And today we are using the translucent pink color, and we're going to use this translucent, it's kind of a light blue, but it's kind of a watery effect. And they match up really well with our colors. So where there's the bubbles is really what I'm going to add this to. And it is like, you know, any of the other Nuvo drops, but here's the pink. It's like a iridescent color. So I'm going to go ahead and move that back off of the page, because I'll end up putting my hand in it. So where we have the pink spots, let me back up just a little bit here. Whoops. And if you take it off quick enough, at least in this scenario, so I want to get the air out, and I just want to add some bubbles. I want to give it the depth, a little bit of the effect on the bubbles. And because this is going to dry clear, it's going to help that cranberry color pop a little bit. And I will give you all a sneak peek for a project that I have due on the card, or the other team that I have ready to go, where they're dry and you can kind of see them. So I'm just going to pop them down. Obviously I'm using the pink and the pink spots, and it just gives it some texture and a little bit of a glossy finish. Okay, so there's not too much of the blue, but we're really going to be able to see this pink, the pink part, when we add that. So this is the translucent. Let me see if there's a color listed on here for it. This is rose water, so it's translucent, and this one is called Sea Breeze. So it is also translucent. Let me make sure I don't have an air bubble in this one. Okay. And I'm going to do the exact same thing in some of the blue. And it's going to dry a nice bubble. It's not like some of the gels type glues that you may use to embellish. It's not going to flatten out. It's going to hold its shape. And that's one of the things that I like about the Nuvo drops. And I'm just going to add a few here. And you can make them bigger or littler, you know, whatever your preference is going to be. We're going to put some in here. You could also do, you know, in those bigger spots that we have, I guess you could even do some glassy accents, which is also a fun glue to use. It's a little bit, it stays wetter a little bit longer, but if you got a nice dry on it, that would give it a nice effect also. And I'll go ahead and fill in some of these brown ones with the blue. And I think I'm going to kind of leave off at that. I like to put the Nuvo at the end of those, but I don't think I'm going to do that this time. And then I'm going to do probably 3 little gold. These are big enough. I probably don't need that pointer there. And I think I'll put one here. I'll put one down maybe in there. Maybe we should have used it. Okay, push that there. And I'm going to go ahead and put one behind her. Maybe not quite down. Okay, and so I think adding those little jewels really makes the card pop. I'm going to move the camera, which is going to make it darker, and you can really kind of see the depth of those, I hope. So she's really pretty. So this card was a lot of work, a lot of stopping and going so that I could prep ahead. But give it a try. You know, it's fun to play with. You can also use your alcohol inks on your gel press plate. If you have that jelly plate, it will stain it immediately. But you can manipulate the ink a little bit that way. So I promised you a little bit of a sneak peek to see. So this one, when I did the alcohol background, was a little bit lighter, and you can see the pink Nuvo drops that I've added, and they're clear, so it goes right through. So that's the rose water, and again, the Sea Breeze, so they've added there. So that was a quick sneak peek. I'm going to put everything in the descriptions of the project so that you'll be able to link right directly to the website for those. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel so that you can see all of the great projects and ideas that we're going to share with all of you. We have a couple of Facebook groups. We've got the Lavinia World Facebook page, and we've also got the Anything Lavinia, where we share projects and do exchanges, and you can also post your challenge pictures out there if you join our challenges. But we'd love to see what you can make, and you know, stay tuned and keep watching. Thanks for joining me. Bye.